Okay, so here's something that happened to basically all of us. You're walking somewhere. Doesn't matter where. Work, the grocery store, wherever. You have a plan. You have a destination. You're a functioning adult with places to be. And then you see a dog. And that's it. That's the end of the plan. Everything you were doing, everywhere you were going, every single thing you'd figured out, completely gone. Just like that. Suddenly you're crouched on the sidewalk, making sounds you would never make in a professional setting. High-pitched sounds. Baby sounds. E-bubby. Who are you? Look at you. Look at this face. 3 minutes later, you're back on your way. Slightly late. Completely unbothered. Feeling weirdly better than you did before. Which makes absolutely no logical sense whatsoever if you think about it. There was no moment where you thought, yes, I will now approach the dog. Your legs just went. Your hand just went. Your voice changed on its own. Your brain was genuinely catching up to something your body already started. And this wasn't just you. This happens to almost everyone across every culture, every background, every age group. Put a soft animal in a room and watch what people do. They reach for it. Every single time. Let's start with the obvious answer, which is it's cute. You see something cute, you want to touch it. Simple. Done. Except it's not simple at all. Calling it simple is like calling a nuclear reactor warm. Back in 1943, an Austrian scientist named Konrad Lorenz noticed something. Certain physical features, round eyes, big forehead, chubby cheeks, small nose, always produce the exact same reaction in people. Didn't matter who they were. They saw those features and they immediately softened. They wanted to get closer. They wanted to help. His argument was that these features evolved in human babies deliberately and on purpose over millions of years of evolution. Babies that triggered caregiving responses in adults survived. Babies that didn't trigger that response often didn't make it. Evolution is not subtle about this. It built a visual alarm system directly into every adult human brain. And your brain never learned to only run this for human babies. It just looks for the features. Round eyes. Soft face, small nose. When it finds them in a puppy or kitten, it fires the exact same response. No species check. None. You see a puppy and something in your nervous system says mind, protect approach, and it says it faster than you are capable of disagreeing with it. That's not a personality trait. That's not being a dog person. That is a hardwired biological exploit, and every human on Earth has it running. Now let's say you've actually crossed the street. You crouch down, the dog is right there, and you reach out your hand and you touch it, and something immediately feels good. The question is why? Because the answer is genuinely not what you expect. Touch is not one sense. Most people think of it as one thing, but it's actually a collection of completely different sensory systems all running simultaneously. Pressure, vibration, texture, temperature, each one a separate specialized system doing its own job. But there's one specific type of nerve fiber that most people have never heard of, and it changes this entire conversation completely. They're called C-tactile afferents. And what makes them extraordinary is what they are tuned to specifically. These fibers are tuned to one very specific kind of touch. Not sharp pain, not firm pressure, not fast movement, slow, gentle, soft stroking, moving at approximately 1 to 10 centimeters per second. That's their whole specialty. That's their entire purpose. When these fibers activate, they don't just send a signal to the eye and being touched part of your brain. They send signals directly to areas involved in emotion, social reward, and bonding. These aren't sensory fibers. They are relationship fibers. They exist to make gentle touch feel meaningful. And now here's the connection that makes everything click. What does it feel like to slowly run your hand through soft animal fur? Slow, gentle, soft stroking. It fits these nerve fibers almost perfectly. The texture, the warmth, the rhythm, all of it. You are not petting a dog because it feels nice. You're triggering a neurological cascade that evolution built specifically for the purpose of forming deep social bonds. The Labrador is just the trigger. The system is ancient and it is yours. That pathway, once activated, releases something you've probably heard of but almost certainly underestimate. Oxytocin. People call it the love hormone. Scientists wince when they hear that, because it does considerably more work than that simple label implies. Just a few minutes of petting a dog, not years of ownership, not a deep relationship, just a few minutes on a sidewalk produces measurable, statistically significant spikes in oxytocin levels, a bonding hormone, in your actual bloodstream, from a dog you just met. But here is genuinely one of the most beautiful facts in all of behavioral science. The dog's oxytocin spikes too, at the exact same time. You and that animal are both experiencing the same neurochemical response simultaneously. The same one. Both of you. The same neurochemical response that bonds parents to their children, that bonds long-term partners to each other, that underlies some of the deepest, most lasting emotional connections human beings ever form. You and a stranger's dog. For minutes. A sidewalk. That's all it took. You walked up to a stranger's dog, and you both chemically fell slightly in love with each other in 4 minutes on a sidewalk. That is not sentimentality. That is not anthropomorphization. That is biology functioning precisely as it was designed to function. Okay, side question. Why soft things specifically? Why does our hand reach for fur and not concrete? Why don't we feel an overwhelming urge to pet a brick wall? Why does texture matter this much to us at all? Part of the answer goes back further than you expect. As infants, humans spend enormous amounts of time in close contact with warm, soft things. Skin, fabric, blankets, other bodies. And this all happens before language, before conscious memory, way before any of that exists. Your nervous system is paying attention even then. The connection between softness and safety gets wired in at a level completely below conscious access. Soft equals warm. Warm equals a living body nearby. Living body nearby equals safe. Not alone. Not in danger. Okay, this association never fully goes away. It never gets overwritten. It runs quietly in the background for your entire life, influencing how you respond to things before your conscious brain has any chance to say anything about it at all. So when your hand lands on something warm and soft and slightly yielding, your nervous system responds immediately. Heart rate slows. Stress response drops. You relax. Not because you decided to relax, because your body recognized warmth and made the call entirely on your behalf. And while we're talking about physical sensations, we need to talk about cat purring right now. Because the more science actually looks at it, the stranger and more genuinely interesting it becomes. It starts simple and gets very weird very fast. Cats purr by vibrating muscles in their larynx dozens of times per second, both when they breathe in and out. The frequency range sits between 25 and 150 hertz. Most cats purring most often between 25 and 50 hertz. Remember those numbers because they matter. That specific frequency range, 25 to 50 hertz, has been documented in clinical research to promote healing in bone tissue, reduce inflammation, and accelerate recovery in soft tissue injuries. Physical therapy protocols are being developed right now using mechanical vibration at these exact same frequencies. Your cat is sitting on your laptop right now, ignoring you completely, judging everything in your apartment, knocking your water glass off the table for absolutely no reason. And its body is simultaneously emitting frequencies that may be actively helping your body heal. Accidentally, for no reason. It is doing absolutely nothing for its own reasons and accidentally providing physical therapy to the human nearby. The cat does not know this. The cat does not care. And we still find cats completely irresistible. We should. They genuinely deserve it. Now let's talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough. Have you ever seen a puppy so overwhelmingly cute that something slightly unhinged happened inside your brain? Where you wanted to squeeze it, said I could eat you out loud, made small, vaguely threatening gestures. At a creature you would obviously never harm under any circumstances in a million years. If that has happened to you, and it has happened to you, first, same. Second, there's a real name for this. It is called cute aggression, and it was studied seriously at Yale. When your brain encounters something producing an overwhelming amount of positive emotion, more than the system can handle in one moment, It generates a counterbalancing negative impulse as a pressure release valve. Your brain is receiving a flood of good feelings and cannot process that volume gracefully. So it manufactures a mild aggressive urge just to balance the equation. The slightly unhinged things you want to do to very cute animals are actually your brain failing to cope with how intensely positive it feels. You're not weird. Your brain is working exactly correctly, which is somehow even more alarming when you think about it. But let's move to the part where this stops being just interesting and starts being genuinely kind of profound. The relationship between humans and dogs is not a coincidence. Not even close. The relationship between our two species is the product of an estimated 15,000 to 40,000 years of genuine mutual biological adaptation. We didn't just domesticate dogs. We changed each other, biologically, at the cellular level, over thousands of generations. Dogs can follow human pointing gestures spontaneously, even very young puppies with zero training. Wolves raised by humans from birth cannot reliably do this. Dogs track human eye gaze in ways wolves simply do not. They learn to read us, specifically, deliberately, over millennia. Dogs make eye contact with humans in a way that is neurologically distinct from anything their wild relatives do. They read human faces. They study human expressions. They have become, over tens of thousands of years, the single most sophisticated reader of human social cues in the entire animal kingdom. And then there's this specific detail, which I find almost too elegant to be true. Dogs have a facial muscle that wolves either don't have at all or have only in a dramatically underdeveloped form. One single muscle, and it changes everything about the dog-human relationship. This muscle produces the inner brow raise, the puppy eyes, that expression where a dog's brow furrows just slightly and its eyes go wide, and something inside your chest immediately and completely dissolves. You know the exact look. You felt it happen to you. Dogs evolved that muscle. It is not accidental. It is the result of thousands of years of selection pressure. Dogs that were better at producing that expression got more food, more warmth, more protection. They survived. Their puppies inherited the muscle and got even better at it. The puppy dog eyes are not cute by coincidence. They are the result of an extremely long project. A cross-species negotiation conducted over thousands of generations in which dogs slowly and methodically figured out the exact expression that makes humans reach out their hands. We didn't domesticate dogs. We domesticated each other. And every single time you reach out to pet one, you are responding to tens of thousands of years of very deliberate social engineering coming from the other side of the relationship. Now here's the part of this conversation that I think actually matters most of all. Touch deprivation is a real, measurable physiological stressor. It has documented effects on mental health, immune function, cortisol levels, inflammatory markers. It is not a mood. It is a physical state. And here's what research shows with remarkable consistency. During periods of social isolation, people with animals show significantly better mental health outcomes. Lower stress hormones, lower rates of depression and anxiety, faster recovery from difficult periods, consistently. And researchers specifically asked whether it's just the company that helps or whether the physical contact itself matters independently. The evidence increasingly points to the contact. The hand on fur, the animal in the lap, the warm weight against your leg. That specific thing, 10 to 15 minutes. That's the timeline. 10 to 15 minutes of actual physical contact with an animal produces statistically significant changes in cortisol and oxytocin levels. Not an hour, not a week. 10 to 15 minutes, and your nervous system has already responded. In hospitals, animal-assisted therapy consistently reduces perceived pain levels, lowers anxiety before medical procedures, improves emotional recovery during treatment. A therapy dog walking into a hospital room does something real and measurable to the people inside it. Therapy dogs in schools measurably lower stress responses in children during high-pressure exam periods. A dog in a waiting room changes the chemistry of the people in that room. This is not soft science. This is not feel-good anecdote. This is measurable, peer-reviewed evidence. Physical contact with animals does something real and specific to human physiology. Something measurable, something replicable, something that shows up in blood tests and cortisol readings and brain scans, and something that we clearly need more than we usually admit to ourselves. We treat the urge to pet animals like it's a funny little quirk, an endearing flaw, the thing that makes you late to places. The reason your camera roll is 40% photographs of other people's dogs that you took on the street. But what this urge is actually pointing to is something much older and much more serious than a quirk. For almost the entire history of our species, not hundreds of years ago, but for nearly all of human existence, we lived in constant, close physical proximity to animals. Animals we worked with every day, animals we raised, animals that slept near us for warmth and protection and company through the night. This wasn't occasional. This wasn't optional. This was the baseline condition of human life for most of human existence. The physical separation between humans and animals that feels completely normal to us right now, that is extremely recent, cosmically recent. In the grand scope of human evolutionary history, it barely registers as a moment. And our biology simply has not caught up yet. Our brains haven't processed this separation. Our nervous systems haven't adapted to it. Our reward circuitry is still every single day expecting to be near warm, soft living things. Still running the ancient program. Still waiting for what it knows should be there. And when it finally finds them, even unexpectedly, even for just a few minutes, even in the form of a complete stranger's golden retriever on a random Tuesday sidewalk, everything responds exactly the way it was always designed to respond. With oxytocin, with bonding, with that specific ancient, almost embarrassing sense of relief that washes over you when you kneel down on a sidewalk and let a dog you've never met put its face against yours. That feeling is real. That feeling has a name. You were never going to not pet the dog. It was never really a choice. From the moment you saw it across the street, the outcome was already determined by 15,000 years of mutual biology, and you were simply the last to know about it. It was your entire evolutionary history recognizing something it has always needed in the form it has always taken. A warm, soft living thing, and a hand reaching out instinctively to meet it. That's the whole story. That has always been the whole story. But there's one more layer to this that most people never think about. It's not just dogs and cats. Humans reach for all of it. Bunnies, horses, capybaras, the occasional very confused lizard. We reach for anything with the right combination of features, and we do it automatically. Even animals that objectively shouldn't work somehow still work on us. You've seen the videos. Someone finds a baby something, a baby anything, and the response is immediate and total. The brain doesn't wait for a reasonable assessment. It just fires. And here's something researchers noticed that is worth sitting with. This cross-species pull isn't even unique to humans. There are documented observations of primates in wild settings approaching other species and interacting with them in ways that have no obvious survival function. Capuchin monkeys filmed approaching small animals with apparent curiosity. Bonobos observed in what looks like cross-species socializing. Great apes in captivity developing tactile, affectionate relationships, not just with other primates, but with dogs, cats, birds, rabbits. Coco the gorilla, who learned American Sign Language, had multiple pet cats over her lifetime. She requested them using signs. She named them herself. She handled them with consistent, documented gentleness. When one died, she produced signs her researchers interpreted as grief. A gorilla grieving for a small domestic cat because she had bonded with it, because touching it and being near it had meant something real to her, because the relationship between a large primate and a small, warm, fuzzy creature was genuine and it actually mattered. Touch is not a human invention. The drive toward it is ancient, and it runs through far more of the animal kingdom than we typically acknowledge or give credit for. We are not the exception in wanting this. We are part of something very large and very old. So the next time you're late because you stopped for a dog on the sidewalk, don't apologize for it. You weren't being distracted. You were being exactly what you are. A warm-blooded, social mammal recognizing another one. doing what you were always going to do.